Says mute.
Hello?
Good morning.
Okay. Morning.
We hear you loud and clear, just waiting for the others to log in and for 9:30.
Okay.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
We're waiting for everyone else to log in, and it's not quite 9:30 just yet.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. Just want to be sure.
We're just waiting for everyone to join and then we'll start the meeting. I believe we're still waiting.
Couple of questions before we get started. I want to take a roll call of the attendance of the appellants who said they would be here this morning. Is there someone here from docket A 27019, 6201 Dibber Avenue? Fletcher. I see her name, but I don't see any audio. Francis, can you hear me? Mr. Ivory, are you here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, got you. Is Richard Bartz? Don't see. Oh, sorry. Mr. Marshall, are you here?
I apparently started a separate meeting by accident. I got back into the 9 o'clock spot again.
Oops. Well, we're glad you made it.
Okay, I'm here.
Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stewart is here. What about Butler? See Mr. Butler? Daisy Avenue. Ron? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Miss Davis, I'm here to
Who was that?
Stanford Marshall. I'm
Okay.
just learning how to work this thing, so you have to excuse me. I'm not familiar with this type of technology.
Yes, and Yana from Daisy.
Okay.
Oh. Carmela, are we going to take them as they show up? Daisy's the last one, but we could hear it first.
No, we're gonna stay in order because of how the PowerPoint presentation is, and it would be too much for
Okay,
Reese to keep jumping back and forth.
okay.
I don't. Okay, I see Patty. I see Tom. I have one person that called in. Can the calling user please identify yourself?
That was me that was saying, this is Jeff Ivy.
Okay.
I called in because my audio on my system was not, it said it wasn't recognizing it.
Okay. Thank you.
And I called in, I left a message because I didn't know how to get in, but I got in.
Could you identify yourself? Who was it?
Yana from Daisy.
So, Mr. Let's see. We do have a quorum this morning.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Where is Tom Vanover here or
Yes.
Patty?
Yes, you're here.
Okay.
Not used to me being so quiet, are you? Officially on the record, no comment.
It's okay. It's okay. I know how it rolls.
Okay, Mr. Dink, we can go ahead.
Okay, where's the, here we go. Cleveland, Florida Building Standards and Building Appeals is now in session. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law under COVID-19 emergency declaration, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Attentions from any voter due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. Is that correct? The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Do we use the chat feature, Maurice?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. Board of Building Standards and Building Appeals now in session. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Here.
Mr. Dink,
Here.
Mr. Bradley,
Uh-oh. He's here. I will assure that he's here.
he's here. His phone.
I would object until he speaks to that, and as I'm on here, I'll object to the.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
Did you hear me? Howard Bradley, did you hear me?
I can
Yes, we
hear you
did.
now.
We got you.
Okay.
And Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Now I'll do that. Mr. And now that you've got all four listed, thank you. Patricia McGinty, Aston City of Cleveland Law Department. The city does object to the chat function as we do at each and every time because although the virtual nature of this matter in person, you would not be having that function, as well as if we could have an independent verification that this is currently being live streamed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. The proceedings are being live streamed on YouTube.
I don't think we use the chat function much anyway. I'll introduce the first docket. Docket A, 270-19, 6201 Dibble Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance. Issued August 19, 2019. Appeal statement received September 18, 2019. Requesting until August to complete the abatement of the violations. Present for the hearing. We have Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. And the appellant, Ms. Frances Fletcher.
Mr. Fletcher says that he cannot hear you.
Hello? Are you referring to Stanford?
No, Fletcher.
No. Francis Fletcher.
Dibble Avenue.
He just typed in the chat that he can't hear us.
Okay. Well, we're going to table this one and go to the next one until we can figure out the audio issue. with docket 370-19.
Okay, we will withhold docket A270, is it 370?
Yes.
19, and proceed to docket A219, 7301 Clement Avenue. The doc has been, the appellant has withdrawn.
Right.
What are the magic words that I use to get that out of there? The board will take no action and note that the project has been, that the violation notice has been withdrawn, or the appeal, sorry, the appeal has been withdrawn.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, we have Ms. Aston with her hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With a withdrawal, the docket's no longer in front of you, so you don't have to take any action. It's no longer there. Thank you.
Thank you. The next docket is docket A319. That docket has also been withdrawn, so there will be no action by the Board of Building Standards on that docket. The next docket is docket A38619, 1125 East Boulevard.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is a condemnation of the main structure. Issued December 17, 2019. Appeal statement received December 23rd, 2019, requesting for 12 months to abate the violation. Present for the hearing. Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patty Ashton, Law, and Jeffrey Ivory, the owner.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Is that me? Yes.
The appellant and the city members taking part in the discussion, please signify yes or no.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Vanover.
I do.
We don't have a full description of the, there we go. Who put that up? Mr. Vanover, did you do that?
No, I did not, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Mr. Vanover, what we'd like to have from you is such as a comment on whether the property is occupied or unoccupied, whether it's a rental, and any comments you might have. Okay. That's what is this the appropriate time? And this is something new we're trying to do because we don't have the description or the picture. Now we have the picture, and it doesn't look good. But would you comment on those other things? It's obviously been condemned because it's unsuitable for human habitation. Is it occupied now that you know?
Yes.
Whoa. Okay, I guess we're ready to hear from the appellant then. What we're interested in, Mr. Ivy, is what are your intentions with the property?
My intentions, I am actually working with an architect right now to actually come up with design plans. Because of COVID, we had to push the planning stages back. I just need the time to actually work with my architect to come up with a viable plan to do the repairs. I was trying to not do them, indiscriminately. I have been consequently a victim of crime that kind of led to some other issues. Also, just in terms of the aggressive nature of the the housing inspector in serving a warrant and actually breaking into the home and coming in. I basically, it was kind of unprecedented. As I spoke to some of the representatives of the city, they said they have, very seldom heard of an occupied space being warranted and broken into. But that's another issue. But my start to continue to work with my architect to actually restore the.
Mr. Chairman, we have Miss Aston with her hand raised.
Ms. Aston?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to legally obligated to address his statements regarding the search warrant and his quote statement of aggressive nature and quote breaking into a home. As you can see from those photos, the city, I expect Mr. Vanover intends to ask that this board uphold this at the end of this hearing as properly issued. This is clearly condemned with collapsing nature. The pictures really speak in this one, and it is not unprecedented to get a warrant. It's legally obligated by the city to seek consent, and then when that is either not provided or unable to be obtained, if the city can show the neutral court probable cause, as you can see from these photographs, the search warrant is then issued and executed by the city. One of the photos shows the search warrant posted at the property, which is a requirement. And so it is right there, that picture right there, Mr. Chairman. So the city did obtain a search warrant under the constitutional due process requirements. I'm not sure who his statement of speaking with city officials. I would ask him to specifically identify who these alleged officials are if he wants to go down that vein. But the court provided the city with that search warrant and condemned structure under the code is unfit for human habitation. This board, your own comments, Mr. Chairman, stated that it's finding that to be true. I will defer to the other factual matters to Mr. Vanover, but I anticipate at the conclusion of this hearing, the city is going to seek that you uphold this notice, and there should not, showing those photographs conditions, that should not be occupied, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
So the space, the garage space and the front porch space is a different space. The living spaces that I live in is actually on the first level. Again, with the pictures that you show in the bathroom is something that I was actually demolishing myself, taking down the walls in anticipation of the restoration. But the front porch and the garage is in deteriorated conditions. But the interior, the space that I'm living in, is this space that you see. With all utilities connected. The house was once had two sets of utilities going to them, electrical and phone, and I think the gas was separate. The gas has been, restored to one. Electricity has been restored, just turned to one. But the additional, the second meter that goes to the upstairs with exposed wiring has no power or utility going to it, based on me doing some of the work in terms of the demolishing of the.
What kind of a schedule do you think you're on, Mr.?
Probably a 6-month schedule to start with the building, but probably a 1-month schedule to start to continue the demolition. I just wanted to get an okay for the porch and that stuff. They told me I had to I couldn't just restore it myself. I had to give some architectural plans. So that's what I was working on.
And you
And-
think, what about the hazard condition and the weather exposure of in the photographs we're looking at? It doesn't look like somebody should be living there, and has that been discussed with the city at all as to the suitability of you continuing occupancy in that area? It's a two-suiter, is that what you're saying? It's two people, two entities.
It's one house that was once 2 levels. It's actually 3 levels, but the 2 upper levels are not being occupied. These levels are not being occupied.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Vanover.
so if I can make a couple of statements. The search warrant process, the first thing we do is search for permits and attempt to make contact with the owner. The demolition work that the appellate claims to have been conducting that results in open walls and open wiring. There are no permits for that. So obviously the inspector was not able to locate the owner from that. The discussion on whether or not you can occupy, the condemnation notice on its face says that it's uninhabitable. So we would ask that you uphold this. I don't understand, and Mr. Maschke, I think, can speak to, although we are in a pandemic and COVID has delayed many things, the ability to get a design professional to look at this and put plans together is not one of those things. And I don't understand. We are now, this was December of 2019. We are now going on 8 months that this has been in this condition with no plans or permits submitted. So the request for time was, and if I can just correct the record, the appeal was for more time. And we're for a year, which we object to, but we're really 8 months in. This could have been finished and permits pulled. This house should not be inhabited by anybody. It sounds like the appellate has said it used to be a 2-family home that's now is being used and converted to a 1-family home. That also requires a permit. So there's a lot of work that required review and permitting that was not completed. And the house is obviously condemnable. It's not just the porch and the garage. The bathrooms and many other spaces throughout the house have deteriorated plaster. We would ask that you deny more time at this point and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing. The applicant can still engage his design professional or his architect and still go through the process of getting permits and making the repairs.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Maschke has his hand raised.
Yes, Mr. Maschke.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I concur with Mr. Vanover. There are plenty of design professionals, architects out there that could handle this and are looking for work at this point. I do have a question for the appellant. Who is the design professional you're working with?
The young lady that I met at a downtown Cleveland business is I could submit to you guys. Her name is, it's an Italian name, Lacati.
So you don't know your architect's name? How engaged are you working with this person?
I do know her name. I have her.
Do you have a contract with her?
Do I have a contract? No, I do not.
Okay.
She's actually working on design plans for me, and basically our relationship is based on what I ascertain here today. If I can go forward with her, or if I just need to get some workers and come in and just what I need to demolish and do that and pull those permits and then work with her in the post.
One last question. Do you have the resources to finish this project?
Yes, I do.
Well, I think it's clearly been stated of all the permits you need to do the work. I do not have confidence that you're actually engaged an architect. You don't even know their name. I'm kind of leaning towards just remanding this to the city, which won't preclude you from doing the work, but you'll just have to work in close conjunction with the building department and your inspector, and they will make sure that you're doing the necessary things to bring this back into compliance in an expeditious manner. And since I'm happy to hear that you have the resources, that means this could probably be resolved pretty quickly.
I think that was all well stated, Mr. Maskey, and I think we're ready maybe to take a vote. The city can watch this, but we can't watch it, and it needs watching from this day forward because it's just not habitable. He's there because the city is giving him some latitude, but that better be on a pretty short leash.
I take a motion.
Thank you. A motion is in order to deny the request for additional time and remand the property to the Division of Building and Housing for supervision and required further action, which should be immediate. Motion so in order.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Dank?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Okay. Next up, we're going back to docket A 37019.
So the,
270.
hello?
Hello.
So what am I,
Is this
what
Mr.
am I
Fletcher?
hearing, guys? Because I'm not clear on what you just voted.
That was Mr. Ivory.
It just exactly you're directed to say just exactly what Mr. Maskey said you should do, which is work closely starting right now with the Division of Building and Housing. They know your problems and they've given you more time than they probably should have. I'm not judging them, but that you're way out to sea. You've got to keep working, get some conversation with the Division of Building and Housing and stay with them to letting them know that you're working diligently on fixing the problems.
Mr. Chairman, discussion?
Who is my contact person at Building and Housing, or who is that person there?
Mr. Chairman, if I may give some information. The city, obviously, we have given them plenty of time, but by law, this hearing stays any action by the Department of Building and Housing. So we really had no choice but to give more time.
Correct.
This property as a condemned structure requires a building permit, a plumbing permit, an HVAC permit, and an electrical permit, and they all have to be pulled at the same time. The contact before the work can be begun, and a certificate of occupancy has to be issued before the property can be occupied. I will restate, as a condemned structure, you cannot live, or no one can live in this structure. And the contact will be Inspector Cuevas, who is on the notice of violation, as well as his contact information.
So basically, I just need to have those permits pulled, do that work, then get a certificate of occupancy. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct.
Is there any limitations on, with the COVID going on right now, what is required to get the occupancy permits? Can I come down? I actually came down today because I just actually received this link this morning.
Okay, so you cannot enter the building. However, you can still print off all the applications from the city website, fill them
Right.
out, include your plans from your architect, and submit them
So
at a Dropbox
if
at
I
the back
don't
door.
have, if I just want to do the demo and just the HVAC, the stuff that is required to gain occupancy as opposed to the actual designs for rebuild, standard 6 months time after pulling that permit, or?
Because of the structural condition of the property, you'll be required to submit drawings in order to get those plans or get those permits.
Mr. Chairman, we also have Mr. Gallagher wanted to make a comment.
Gallagher.
Yeah, to Mr. Vanover and to the appellant, if he's occupying the property now, meaning he's living there, is it possible for him to get an inspection of where he's actually living, because he has utilities that are current in the dwelling where he's at, to say that it is safe enough for him to occupy, plus do the work that he needs to do to do the drawings, pull the permits that he needs to pull to fix the rest of it up? Is that possible, or I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, I would hope, yeah, because with the COVID going on and everything like that, it is kind of one of those things I would wish that the city could allow.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Gallagher, as stated, the structure is condemned. There's no partial correction of a condemnation. This didn't happen overnight. These are not new conditions. As a condemned structure, state law and local law, local ordinance says you cannot occupy a condemned structure.
Well, there you have it.
So what is the timetable on terms of reversing the condemnation?
Well, that's up to you. As soon as you get your plans and get your drawings and get your permit and get the work corrected and get the work done. As soon as you get that and get a certificate of occupancy, the structure is no longer condemned.
Okay, because I'm kind of unclear, because this is where the conditions that, again, require the condemnation, and like I said, I think that your guy was a little aggressive in terms of the condemnation. Not my call. I'm not.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to step in here and object. I did try to raise my hand, but this was a post motion discussion that you've already adopted or had a roll call on. This is you're doing stuff on a docket that you've already handled.
I agree with City. This is Robert Maschke. This forum is not an education for the appellant. The appellant should hire a design professional. A design professional will be more than capable of walking the appellant through the process.
I think we're going to go to the next docket at that point, because everything was stated correctly. And you've been given the name of Mr. Clavis, I believe it was, the inspector involved in it already. Start with him and your architect and have a quick meeting and get going.
Okay.
You really don't have any time, but this makes it an emergency for you. And everybody's given you, as was stated, you got more information from us than we usually give.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to dismiss you then at that point. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, can we verify that now Mr. Fletcher can hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. But I can hear you on my phone, not on the computer.
I'll call you when you get done. That could be a little sooner.
Can we mute Mr. Bradley, please?
All right.
Okay, we're done. Go ahead.
And we're reintroducing docket A 370-19, 62. 6201 Dibble Avenue.
Mr. Dank, I need to make a correction. That's a typo on the slide. The docket number is actually 27019.
Okay,
So application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued August 19, 2019. Appeal statement received September 18, 2019, requesting for time to abate requesting until August 2020 to correct all violations. Present for the hearing, we have Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patty Aston, Law, and the appellate, Ms. Frances Fletcher.
solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
Yeah, I affirm.
Proceed. What are your plans and what is your time schedule, please?
Okay. My mom, I'm taking care of my mom, she'll be 92 and she's bedridden. And with this virus, it kind of threw it a little more behind. But I was trying to see if I can get extension and I have asked for, some estimate and to see how much it would cost. But I was trying to see if I could get by this virus. I need some more time.
Mr. Vanover, it looks like there's some hazardous conditions on this property.
There's nobody in here though.
So, Mr. Chairman, so this is a vacant property?
Yes.
Okay, and how much time are you asking for?
What would be the most you could probably give me, and then I'd have it done.
In the appeal, you stated August of this year.
Right, but that was before the virus, and like I said, some unforeseen things that came up by my mom not walking. She can't walk or use her hand, and she can't be by herself. So it's kind of hard for me to, especially with this virus, to get around or do things like I normally would be able to do.
So you're living with your mother someplace else?
No, I'm living I have expenses at my house, and my mom living with me right now. And I gotta convert my dining room into a bedroom, so she can't walk or she can't go to the bathroom and anything. She's bedridden.
Mr. Chairman, we have Mr. Gallagher with his hand raised and Ms. Aston with her hand raised.
Ms. Aston and then Mr. Gallagher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just inquire of the appellant, was this your mother's home or was this rental? Thank you.
No, it was rental. But the person that was in there, I had to evict them. They didn't pay the rent, and they was putting stuff on. I had the porch done not too long. Well, I don't know exactly what year, but it was like probably no more than maybe 6 or 8 years ago, or maybe a little less. And she always put stuff all on the porch, refrigerators and couches. I think I have some pictures that she had couches and stuff on it. And garbage. She just did different things to try to mess up things because she wasn't paying her rent, and the other one had to get evicted because she wasn't paying rent. So it's just been kind of trying time lately.
But it really is vacant right now, correct?
Both of them is vacant, yes. But my plans is to rush, hurry up and get it together so I can restore it as soon as possible.
Okay. Mr. Gallagher, do you have a comment?
No, I don't. I forgot to put my hand down.
Mr. Vanover, you have a comment on this?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I asked how much time was needed, and the response was how much was the longest that we could give. The reality is especially as an investment property, the expectation is that it never gets to this condition. So we would expect it to be fixed and repaired now, because we shouldn't have to explain to people that they need to maintain their property. Now, I do understand there's always extenuating circumstances, but I need, before I can object or not object, I need the appellate to state a date certain that they would be, that they're looking for.
Could I go to at least maybe to the end of the year or the first of next year?
How extensive is the exterior maintenance?
There's additional photographs.
Okay, it looks like it needs painting. And the porch looks like like the roof is collapsing.
Well, it appears, Mr. Chairman, it doesn't appear. There's actually the floor. You can see that the floor and the roof kind of slope together. It appears that there's some structural problem there. The windows boarded up. There's holes in the siding.
Right.
And you know, that need to be corrected. So you can see the post that's next to the stair rail on the left-hand side is actually displaced as well.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Maskey would like to make a comment.
Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Chairman, the type of work that needs to be done is really relying on painting. And you really can't paint till you repair the porch, both the decking and the roof. And if that's not done right away, they're never going to be able to complete the painting before the rainy part of October hits. So giving them to the end of the year really doesn't make much sense. They need to have this resolved in the next 2 to 3 months.
Well, for the painting, is there any way it could go to the spring of next year?
I think this needs to get resolved as soon as possible. There's not that much.
Does December 1st sound reasonable to put a hurry up on it and get it closed up? You're not going to be able to do much work in November anyway, but.
Well, would the painting have to be done this year, or I didn't know about the painting part, or can the paint be done by the before spring of next year?
I think it needs to be done right away. I mean, your neighbors don't want to be next to a home that looks dilapidated.
I didn't want it to be like that too. Like I said, one girl owed me almost $8,000. The other one owed quite a bit too. So, you know, and like I said, by me trying to take care of my mom, they put me in a financial thing. So, and then with this virus, even put it a little more. So, normally I always try to keep it nice. And like I said, this one tenant especially looked like, because she wasn't paying any rent, looked like anything I do, she even took my appliances and stuff that I had in the place. And then somebody took it's just been taking stuff. So she wouldn't let me in. No, for one, when they had I'm sorry. Can I say something else? When they had the inspection, she wouldn't let me in. And the house, Metro, told me and my sister not to bother because she was calling his name and she acted like she was going to fight me. So that's what happened to that part. She wouldn't let me in just to do a minor stuff for the Metro. So it's just been hard, like I said, lately.
Mr. Chairman,
I do try to keep everything up.
How about the porch, Mr. Maskey? How about the porch? The porch painted and structurally put together by November 1st, and then give them till May 1st to do the painting.
If the city's okay with that, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't object to getting the structural components completed first and then follow up with the painting at a later date. I don't think November 1st is realistic. This will require a permit to do this work and most likely a contractor. I'm going to work under the assumption that there are enough resources to get it done. So we don't object till December 1st for the structural components and then May 1st for the rest of the
All
panel.
right, thank you. A motion is ordered to grant the appellant until December 1st, 2020 to complete the porch repairs and until May 1st, 2021 to complete the abatement of the other violations, including the painting. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Motion by Mr. Gallagher, second by Mr. Bradley. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Woo.
He's on mute.
Keep going.
Mr. Bradley,
We've got a.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next docket. A 38819, 12708 Craven Avenue.
Applications and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior exterior maintenance as well as lead, issued November 21st, 2019. Appeal statement received December 20th, 2019, requesting for time. Present for the hearing, Tom Venover, Building and Housing. Patty Aston Law. And the appellant was properly notified and has not responded to the notice of today's hearing.
Ms. Ashton, you have a comment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if you could swear in Mr. Vanover, and then I'll do my song and dance.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Patricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland. If I may inquire of Ms. Davis, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Davis, you stated the appellant has not responded, Mr. Barrett, regarding this matter. I will note there are smoke detectors listed here, Mr. Chairman. But to Ms. Davis, has the notice of today's WebEx public hearing been returned to this board file for any reason?
No.
And Ms. Davis, have you received any telephone as of today, this morning's commencement of these virtual WebEx hearings, any telephone or email contact from Mr. Barrett regarding this matter?
No.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, so the board's file indicates the notice was properly issued and sent and has not been returned, so the board does have the proper authority to proceed in this matter as all due process notice expectations have been met. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Vanover, do you have comments on the condition of this property? And it looks like it might be a rental.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it is. This was inspected as part of our systematic inspection of our rental property by our rental inspection unit. So it is a commercial enterprise. You can see that, there's several exterior issues, windows that need to be fixed, and electrical panels that are wide open, smoke detectors that are non-existent. Although the exterior photos don't really do it justice, it's a rather irresponsible rental property. And we just asked that these two pictures are the most telling, other than the fact that there's no smoke detectors. This is a panel box with open wiring, and the panel is actually open, but you can see that there's holes. There's splices that are in here that I believe are undersized. The picture to the left shows the flue from the furnace not properly sealed. That's a carbon monoxide problem. And there's some dangers in this house, and we ask that you deny any more time and remand it back to us.
Is this property occupied?
I believe it is, sir.
Oh, okay. Any comments from board members? Except to concur?
Mr. Chairman, we had Ms. Aston with her hand raised and Mr. Gallagher and Mr. Maskey. I'm not sure if that was from earlier.
Briefly, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Vanover, is this current on its rental registration, Mr. Vanover? And it's an occupied rental. And also, Mr. Chairman, one of the photos did show, I think it's technically a private person. There's a right in front of the violation of being 15 feet away from the section. If Mr. Vanover can verify if it's current on its rental registration.
It was, it was when it was cited. I do not know currently, because of the age of the citation, if they have renewed or not.
Okay.
That would have been in March, correct? That March,
Correct.
when the pandemic started. Thank you.
Mr. Gallagher, you have a comment?
Yes, I recommend we move to remand this.
Okay. A motion is in order to deny the appellant additional time and to remand the property to the Division of Building and Housing for further action, supervision, and any required further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gallagher, second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank.
Yes. Next docket.
Mr. Dink,
Yes, Mr.
Howard
Bradley.
Bradley. Listen, I've got a doctor's appointment at 11 o'clock.
How far away?
Half an hour.
Leave when you can. We will continue.
All right.
We'll notify the appellants about the conditions of the resolutions as they appear. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
My grandson will be. I'm gonna leave it on.
Okay.
No, Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. Mr.
Information we
Bradley,
don't
once
need.
you leave it, they'll be down to the 3 members and he'll do his 3-member. You can't appear via proxy, but thank you.
Okay.
We will let people know.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Next
you.
up, 389-19-3244 East 126th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued December 11, 2019. Appeal statement received December 26, 2019, requesting for time. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patty Ashton, Law, and I'm gonna say this is Mr. Marshall Stanford.
Here.
Is he, okay. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. Mr. Marshall, what are your intentions for this property?
My intention is to die out of here. I've been here over 32 years now. So I was disabled in 1980, which I had a problem where I was often on and off of work, and I really never made a real living wage. Most of the wages were like no more than $13, $14 an hour during this period of 30 years. And I've been trying to keep the place up best I can. Me and my wife lived here, and she's passed on. And right now I'm on disability, which I'm about to apply for my Social Security. So, you know, it's not a whole bunch of money there. The reason I'm asking for time is I had applied for help it was the beginning of this year, in which I didn't know that my wife's name was supposed to have been taken off of the deed to the house. So I'm in the process of doing that so I can get some help through the government programs for housing.
Is the exterior maintenance primarily painting?
No.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Aston also has her hand raised. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, Ms. Aston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Marshall, did someone reach out to you from the Department of Aging?
I believe so.
Okay. If I can, Mr. Chairman, in February, end of February, upon reviewing these dockets, I did submit this to for review for the senior initiative. I do know that has been, they've restarted virtual telephone meetings on that. So I know when I read that he was disabled and that he's living in the property, I did send that out. I don't know how delayed that got, but I'm hopeful that is in the process of happening. So just so, Mr. Chairman, I know you like to know whether or not that's happened. It has been referred, and usually Mike Shockley would be the one who would be reaching out, or I think there's one other inspector, I can't recall, from aging. The gentleman's name, but just so you're aware, Mr. Chairman, I did refer that at the end of February, and then COVID hit.
Would it be appropriate for us to remand it to the building and housing and have them, that puts it?
Yeah, I'll defer to Mr. Vanover on that. I think that's how you normally handle what these men.
Mr. Vanover, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I don't object to that path. The only thing is that if, in order to make application for the Department of Aging, it's incumbent upon the applicant. The Department of Aging may reach out, but the applicant has to fill out paperwork and they have to actively seek help from the Department of Aging. So I would ask that you grant a short period of time for the applicant to work with the Department of Aging. If the Department of Aging gets all the paperwork and then they can set up a case, then it has it's not an automatic stay, but it does really stop us from doing anything while the Department of Aging is working. But there needs to be some incentive for the applicant to continue to work with the Department of Aging. And just remanding it to us isn't necessarily the case because we don't control all of the pieces parts. So we would ask for a short period of time under the board's authority for the applicant to like maybe 30 days for them to reach out and make contact with the Department of Aging, and then for it to be remanded to the department.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments from board members?
We have no hands raised, Mr. Dank.
Okay. A motion is in order to grant the appellant until October 1st, 2020 to make an application to the Department of Aging. The property is remanded this time to the Division of Housing for supervision required further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Gallagher, second, Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Next docket, A39019, 1400 East 85th Street.
application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is a condemnation of the main structure. Issued November 20th, 2019. Appeal statement received December 19, 2019, requesting for 1 year to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Ball, and William Stewart, owner.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. Mr. Stewart, may we hear your plans for the property? It is condemned, so it will need permits to be restored. What are your plans?
You're muted, sir.
I am?
No, Mr. Is it William Stewart?
Yes.
There you go. Okay. Now we can.
Okay, excuse my voice there. It's a little bit, I'm under the weather a little bit. But my plans for the property is to rehab it. I am a contractor, and I have plans right now to start on rehabbing the property. First thing I'm going to do is demo the garage, redo all the tuck pointing and everything. I'm a contractor. So, I've been busy doing that. So I would like to get some more time on rehabbing the property. Because, working and doing this and that. So I do have plans to rehab the property and bring it up to speed. So over the warmer months, I am going to do the tuck point and redo the siding and so forth and make it look decent, make it look presentable in the neighborhood. The property is always secure. It's never open. I cut the grass. I keep it maintained on the outside. So I'm asking for more time to rehab the property.
Do you have a list of the violations? Mr. Vanover, do you have any comments at this time?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, as a condemnation of the main structure, it will need all 4 permits. And I do have a question, Mr. Chairman of the appellate. Did you buy the house in this condition?
Yeah, when I bought the house, it was not in that condition. What happened is the vandals had been taking the siding and just doing all kind of things to it, like the fence. I usually keep everything secure on the property. I do this kind of work, so I'm checking the house all the time. Now, I had another issue too that was kind of strange because the water department, about a month ago, turned the water on, and I called him for like 3 weeks to come out and turn the water off. Now, I don't know what to make of that, but they finally came out and they had a hard time turning it off. But that was one issue. Another issue, I got a citation that saying that the guys cut the grass, and as you see, that has a fence around it that's always locked. So I was able to fight that and prove my case that I keep the yard maintained. So,
Mr. Chairman of the appellate, those are obviously beyond this board. We're working with the building department, speaking specifically to the condemnation. Mr. Chairman of the appellate, how long have you owned this property?
I probably this property for about 6 years,
Yeah.
something like that.
Has it been, Mr. Chairman of the appellate, has it been empty the whole time?
Yes, not occupied, no.
Okay, so
Every time I go to work on and put thing, and I've got vandals, lately been watching and, just doing, you see how the siding looks right there. So that's been part of the problem with the setback. Now,
so Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, I mean, as a contractor, this is obviously an investment property. And the condition of the property and the location of the property influences the purchase price. So we do understand that as people work on property, there's oftentimes problems with vandals and vagrants and squatters. However, all of those things influence the purchase price when you bought it. This is an investment, and it's your it's the appellate's responsibility to, as the owner, to make this presentable for the neighborhood. We don't object to more time, but I would ask for no more than 2 weeks to get the permits and then follow the rehab plan for complete rehabilitation of this property within the 180 days required.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Gallagher had a comment.
Mr. Gallagher.
No, I took my hand down. I agree with Mr. Vanover to go with the rehab plan that the city has and move forward.
Mr. Stewart.
Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, understand that rehab plan requires siding and windows within 60 days.
siding and windows, and that's a short period with the kind of work that I'm doing. That's a very short period. We can't extend that to give me more time. I mean, I'm going to get the necessary permits. I have the resources, so I would like to get more time than that. That's kind of a short window.
Well, so, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ruins, can you flip back one slide for me, please?
Yes, sir. Oh, that was the
one more beyond that. No, I mean to see the docket slide. Yeah. Okay. So this was condemned in November of 2019, sir.
Okay.
Right. So we're looking at a year. A year ago, this was condemned. It's no surprise that siding and windows were needed. Plus, even if that weren't the case, you can put siding and windows in this house in a week if you hire out a crew, or if you have a crew to do it. So
okay, can I speak, sir?
That's not unrealistic that in 60 days that the exterior is complete and watertight. I'm assuming You said you were a contractor and that you have the resources to do it. And then the other 180 days to fix all the mechanicals and everything that's inside.
It's not enough time, sir. Can I speak?
Sure.
Yeah, you're speaking.
Okay, so I'm willing to obtain the necessary permits and all that. That's a very short window, and that's not the only project I'm working on. Now, I'm willing
So,
to,
Mr. Chairman, we would ask if it can't be done within the rehab plan, we would ask that you deny all of the additional time and remand it back to the department.
I'm
so that we
asking,
can monitor it.
I'm willing to work on it and bring it up to speed, but I need more time. I didn't get a year. We just December of last year. That doesn't give me a year. Hasn't been a full year that you condemned it. You condemned it in November. So that's not a full year. That hasn't been a year ago.
But you haven't done anything yet. And the city of Cleveland has when you get the permits, you're given 6 months to complete abatement of the violations. But if you're making good progress, you can continue on. It's pretty liberal. And you may think you sound good with your intentions, but it doesn't sound good when you've had the property since under violation since November 23rd, 2019.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
you're not inspiring that you're going to really proceed speedily. A motion is in order to grant the appellant.
Excuse me?
Until
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Stewart does have his hand raised.
Yeah, I got my hand raised because
yes,
I am working on other projects and things, and I need more time. I'm willing to do all the necessaries that I need to do to bring the property up to speed. All I need is more time. If I can get more time, we'll do that. If not, you just tear it down. Why can't I have more time?
Mr. Chairman, we have Ms. Aston also with her hand raised.
Ms. Aston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the appellant has repeatedly said that he has the resources to do it, but yet has not made application or done anything. And although COVID may have put things on a halt, it did not halt the issuance of permits and work on properties. In addition, Mr. Chairman, if he is a contractor who has this property, the code requires him to fix it or tear it down, not him to fix it, and if he chooses or doesn't do it because he got more time to have the city tear it down. He can choose to tear it down if he doesn't want to fix it. And the fact that he has other projects is not a sufficient representation to this board for getting more time. So we would ask to defer to Mr. Vanover's request. Thank you.
Okay. A motion is there to grant the appellant until September 15th, 2020 to obtain the permit.
No, your livelihood is based on making those repairs.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
continue.
Okay. Requirements of the City of Cleveland rehab time schedule, which is 6 months and continuing time if progress is being, the property is mandated at this time to the building department with supervision and required further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Mr. Maskey? Wait. Call the roll, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Motion by Mr. Gallagher, second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Banks,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Does anybody know where the interference is coming from?
It's from Mr. Gallagher. I believe it's from Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Stewart does have his hand raised again.
Yes, Mr. Stewart.
Yes, sir. You guys are giving me to September. Now, when you're doing a rehab project, you don't just go and put new windows in there had the vandals bust them all out. You know, you're telling me to go, you're giving me to September to put new windows and siding. That's wrong. You know, you don't
Sir,
put
you're
windows
given
in.
to September to pull the necessary permits
Permit.
Okay,
and
Okay.
6 months to complete the work.
I misunderstood you then, sir.
But I would like to add the information that the rehab plan is 6 months to complete the work, but requires that the property be secured within 48 hours and that the exterior is completed within 60 days. That's what the city's rehab plan does.
The exterior work be completed within 60 days.
Yes.
You said, okay, the property is always secure and I check it frequently. So it's never unsecure. Okay, so
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna again,
Yeah,
object to
we're not
the
gonna do another
discussions
building.
after the board has ruled and issued it. There's a mechanism outside of this board's hearing for appellants to inquire with the city.
Thank
as
you.
they-
So we sent the paperwork that goes along with this meeting today. Is there paperwork that follows up with this?
You will receive within 2 weeks. No, we act on them in 2 weeks. In about 15 days, you'll receive the resolution.
Okay,
That's why you have until September 15th to get the permits. Because
okay,
we're
I'll
not,
get the,
and then you continue.
yeah,
Then
I'll
you
get
act
the
like a
paper.
contractor.
I
But
will
you-
do that.
And you talk to the inspector and he determines whether you're secured or not.
Okay, and one other thing, I never was officially talking to the inspector. Somebody called me on the phone, but you get a lot of scammers, a lot of people calling on the phone. So I prefer the paperwork, so you know who you're talking to, and it's from the court.
Fine, you'll get paperwork.
Yeah. Okay, I'll continue
All
on.
right, thank you. Next docket, A 39119, 1344 East 111th Street.
Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Yeah.
this is Butler,
Hello?
Dennis
Can you hear me?
Butler.
Should take this shit.
Yes, can you hear me?
One moment,
Can you
please.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Can you
you.
hear me? Okay, how you doing? Good morning, everyone.
One moment, please. Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance. Issued December 4th, 2019. Appeals token received December 27, 2019, requesting for 6 months to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patty Ashton, Law. I'm not quite sure if that's Mr. Butler on the phone.
Yes, it is. I'm Mr. Butler. This is me.
Okay. Okay.
Sade, wait a minute.
I'm swearing you in. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, we want to hear Mr. Butler's, what is your plan for taking care of the exterior maintenance?
Okay, I got some of the wood. I'm in the paint program. I just got a 40-foot ladder. I'm gonna start scraping. I got 2 of the cars running. They have plates on them. They have insurance on them. I have 1 car in my yard that belongs to a friend. I'm gonna have it removed soon. Okay, other than that, the chimneys, I'm gonna get them tucked. I have one that's leaning. I called a couple of people. The prices were high. I got some people that I've been coming by taking pictures, and I'm getting things done for the cars. They are not dismantled. They have license and insurance on them. I got the paint. They gave me everything. I got to get 1 more bucket of paint. I'm gonna start scraping. I just got a 40-foot ladder, so I'm gonna start doing that. The chimneys, I'm gonna get them tucked. The one that's leaning, I'm trying to find someone that can prepare that one for me. And
How long?
Mr. Chairman, we have Miss Aston.
I would like an extension too, if it's possible.
Miss Aston?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Butler. Mr. Butler, you live at this property?
I own it, yes.
Do you live at the property?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. I thought the answer was going to be yes. And Mr. Vanover, was there a permit pulled back in December? I'm
Yes,
sure
I have a
you,
permit, yeah. Yes, I have a permit, yeah.
Mr. Butler, you did pull a permit? Okay. I
Yes,
have a
I did.
record of a permit, but I couldn't tell if it had been issued or if it was pending. Thank you.
Right.
I defer to Mr. Vanover after that, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Vanover.
We don't object to more time. It's owner occupied and he's making progress.
Okay. Mr. Butler, how long do you think it'll take you to finish this?
Okay, the weather's been holding up pretty good. I'm gonna start, I took off today and the rest of the week, so I'm gonna start scraping today. The cars can be moved, that's no problem. A friend of mine's gonna come get his car. I'm working on an immediate situation from him. I might have to just move it myself. The chimney, I got somebody coming by to look at the one that needs to be tucked, the one that needs to be put back in place. That's going to be an issue. I'm working with somebody right now, trying to get them to come by. I need an extension. I know the weather's getting cold, so I want to get the chimney started so the motor can be able to dry.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Butler, what? Give us a date.
How about
November 1st.
Thank you. That's fine. Ooh,
okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
A motion is ordered to grant the appellant until November 1st, 2020 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher,
That was Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Dank, yes. Next docket, A 39219, 13210 Southview Avenue.
Thank you guys so much. You have a great one. Stay safe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Butler.
Thank you guys so much. All right. Okay, I'm getting on it. Bye-bye.
So that one's withdrawn.
I'm sorry. Yes, docket A 39219 was withdrawn by the appellant. There will be no action by the Board of Building Standards on that docket. Next docket A 39419, 2612 Daisy Avenue.
application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. Issued December 12, 2019. Appeal statement received December 24th, 2019, requesting for 6 months to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law, and Mr. Kawan. Ms. Kawan?
Hello?
Mr. Karan, are you there?
Yes, Ms. Karan, I'm here.
You're there.
Yeah.
I'm going to swear you in. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Help you God.
I do.
We want to know what your plans are to abate the violations. How much time do you need to finish it, if that's what you plan to do?
About 6 more months, please.
Mr. Vanover, it's 6 months.
Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, is this owner occupied or is this a rental?
Owner occupied.
All right, we don't object, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. A motion is in order to grant the appellate until March 1st, 2020 to complete abatement of the violations.
Yes, thank you.
2021, Joe.
2020. I knew something was wrong.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'm not thinking about this COVID-19 test tomorrow, so I'm not thinking.
Mr. Maskey?
Yeah.
Motion by Mr. Maskey, second Mr. Gallagher.
Mr. Maskey?
Yes.
Mr. Dank?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
that completes the docket,
Thank you.
correct? Thank you. Next item of business, approval of resolutions. The following A-19 resolutions, A through 368, 19, 372, 373, 374, 376, and A 3320. Any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion for approval as submitted.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gallagher,
Second.
second by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher,
What? Yes, on my end. You're number 2, Joe.
yes.
Okay.
Next item, approval of the minutes of the last meeting, of August 5th, 2020. Any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion for approval as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Gallagher, second, Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey?
Yes.
Mr. Dank?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Any further official business?
No.
Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Questions?
Have a good one. Good to see you all. Stay safe.